Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm in the studio, I'm live. You know what to do by now. Get involved in the comments and the chat and let us know what you think about all the latest Manchester United news. We're going to be talking about outgoings. It looks like Dean Henderson and Mengi could be on their way out of Old Trafford. We'll also be talking about potential incomings. What is going on with the midfield situation at Manchester United? Are we going to get Sofyan Amrabat, or are we going to get Pierre-Emile Højbjerg? Also, left back, are we getting Mark Cucurella, or what? What's Pochettino been saying about it as well? He's had something to say about it, sort of. So we'll get into all that. Plus, we're going cup draw crazy. We've had one cup draw. We've got another one on the horizon, which we'll be live for as well. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of that. Already a few people in the chat as well. Richard Evans saying, good morning, Jay. BMW Racing 1974. Joe Blogg saying, United are a mess. Colin Coupleditch says, morning all. Tough being a United fan at the minute, isn't it? Right. It's weird being a United fan at the minute. You're right, it's tough because City have just won the treble, albeit with 115 charges hanging over their heads. We've not probably had the window we were hoping for. I think if we're being brutally honest, yes, we brought in a goalkeeper, which is necessary. We've brought in a striker. I think there's a few of us that would have wanted that big-name, ready-made striker to come in. I'm not knocking the lad Rasmus Højlund, but obviously he's injured, he's young, it's going to take a little while. The midfield situation isn't great as well. We need reinforcements there. We probably haven't done it yet. And now we've got these injuries. Ideally, you'd want to see another centre-back coming in. That ain't happening, though. But a left-back is a necessity because we've got both Shaw and Tyron Malacia out. So Cucurella coming in sort of softens that blow. But it's not been probably the window we'd want. It might be. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Obviously, it's not done yet. But it is very, very frustrating. And a lot of this is down to the Glazers as well. Because people, I hate the argument where people go, well, United are spending money and it's not the Glazers' fault, it's FFP. To be fair, it's not many United fans who say that. But Kieran Maguire pointed out something about a month ago, almost 2 months ago, and I tweeted this earlier, sort of did a little quote tweet of it, and it said, some have contacted me, this is Kieran Maguire, who's the sort of the football financial expert we have on the channel quite a lot. Knows all about football finances, does the Price of Football blog and videos. He's a great guy. He said, some have contacted me why Manchester United FFP issues given Premier League limit is 105 million loss over 3 years. That's not quite the case. The limit is 15 million plus up to 90 million in equity investment by the owners. The Glazer family have only put nothing in those 3 years, so allowable loss still 15 million. It then goes on to elaborate on that. So there's a reason why FFP is hurting us more than it's probably hurting other clubs, and it all leads back to one problem at this football club, the Glazer family. Anyway, before I lose my temper, let's get into something else. Let's talk about Dean Henderson. You can see here from Fabrizio Romano, he kind of knows what he's on about. Dean Henderson will be unveiled as new Crystal Palace goalkeeper, 15 million plus 5 million add-ons package. What do you reckon about that fee? Right, because part of me thinks 15 million plus 5 million add-ons. Yeah, that's not too shabby for a player that's, had a serious injury last season. But then there's another part of me that thinks, hang on a minute. Dean Henderson, he's a pretty established goalkeeper, isn't he? He had a very good spell at Sheffield United. I think he was their player of the year. He was Manchester United's number one, albeit for a brief spell. He has an England cap, albeit one, but he's an England international. And he's only 26 years old. So he's a Premier League experienced goalkeeper. He's a very talented goalkeeper. He's got an England cap. He's an England international. And he's only 26. And it's 15 million quid plus 5 million in add-ons. So let's just call it what it is, 15 million. For a goalkeeper like that, I don't think that's right. I think we should be probably getting a little bit more. And I think this boils down to where we're at. It's almost like this desperation now. I think, well, we've got to get some money in, especially if we want to bring in other players. 15 million plus 5 million add-ons. That's probably the best we can do with 48 hours left of the window, whatever it is, sorry. Yeah, I don't know. Especially when I see some of the younger players. Like, there was that kid who, I keep going on about this, but it's true, that went from Manchester City to Burnley. And he went for 90 million, I think. And I don't think he's played in the Premier League. I think he's only ever played in League One. And you think, how can that happen? And then we're getting rid of an England international who's 26 years old, who's played for Manchester United, he's player of the year at Sheffield United, he played very well for Nottingham Forest before he got injured, and we're only getting 15 million. Am I being a bit naive there? Let me know in the comments in the chat. Let me know what you think about it. I think Dean Henderson had to go. I think we need the money. We need to bring some money in. He ain't in Erik ten Hag's plans. He kind of burned his bridges when he gave that interview after his loan move to Nottingham Forest, where he just absolutely hammered the club. Said it was criminal the way he'd been treated, which I didn't quite agree with. But let me know what you think. Do people agree? Do you think you just wanted rid of him? Do you think it's a fair price? Tim Sykes doesn't. He says Palace got a steal. Jonas Lowick says Dean Henderson is 70 million. Bro, it's too early to start on the Bears at this time of the day. Yeah, I mean, well, people talking about all sorts of other things though. But let me know about Dean Henderson. That's what I want to hear. What do you think about Dean Henderson? Give me your opinion. Khan says Trafford saved one pen, 19 million. That's the kid, Trafford. Is it James Trafford, I think? Dean Henderson has like 100 games in European football, 15 mil. Yeah, just doesn't seem right, does it? Doesn't. Miller 95 MUFC says, I'm with you, Jay. Think we dawdled too much, done it all summer. Yeah, there is a little bit of dawdling. It's mad in it, United, because what happens is United go early in the summer. We always do this. We'll go early with 1 or 2 signings. Like we did it a few years ago where I think it was, well, last season it was Ericsson and Malacia and Martinez were relatively early. And then you think, okay, yeah. And then we're waiting because we know we need more players. And then the likes of Anthony and Casemiro join after the season started. A few years earlier, it was the same situation where you think, okay, yeah, we've got, was it Donny van der Beek over the line quite quickly? And then you're waiting. And then it's like in the last week of the transfer window, it's Alex Telles, it's Facundo Palestra, it's Amad Diallo, and then it's Edinson Cavani after the transfer window's finished because he's a free agent. There's all that sort of scrambling around. Ollie's last season, you know, Sancho finally got done. Varane comes in, you're like, yeah, she's looking all right. And then it's Ronaldo after the season started. There's always this lateness with Manchester United. It always feels like we do a good bit of business early and then a bit of business later on. Now, I don't mind that to a certain degree. I was saying this, I think we had Jamie Jackson on the podcast on Monday. Well, I know we had him on. I don't know why I said I think. I know we did. I was there. We had him on the podcast on Monday. Me and Joe were chatting. Now, with the Cucurella situation, which I'll get to in a minute, I kind of get it. You can't legislate for 2 left-backs getting injured. No one expects that. We knew Tyrell Malacia had a knock. Okay, you think it's not too shabby. We've got Luke Shaw. Delo can also play at left-back if we need a little bit of cover. It's all right. We can manage that. Then Luke Shaw gets an injury. It's going to keep him out for, anything up to 2 months. So then you have to react to that. The window's still open. There's players there you can get. Let's get Marc Cucurella from Chelsea in on loan because we need a left-back. He's available. He's got Premier League experience. Yes, he's had a stinker at Stamford Bridge, but he was very good at the Amex. It makes sense to me, that one. But it's the other stuff. Like, you know you need a midfielder, and we're still kicking around trying to get these deals done for either Sofyan Amrabat, well, it looks like Sofyan Amrabat, or even Hojbjerg. That's what annoys me a little bit, because you think we should have been sorted already. And this whole thing about, well, we've got ourselves to buy and all this nonsense. We shouldn't be in this position as Manchester United Football Club. You look at other clubs, our rivals, and what they're doing. It's just not good enough. Let's talk about another outgoing, Mengi. Love Mengi, great young player. There was a time when it looked like he could potentially be a future Manchester United captain. See here from, I think this is in the Mirror, Luton Town are close to signing defender Mengi from Manchester United. Mengi, 21, has previously spent time on loan with Derby and Birmingham, but is now sealing a permanent move to the newly promoted side. Luton have also spoken to Arsenal and Rob Holding. I don't care about that. Mengi, good young player. I hope he does well at Luton. I wish him all the best when he goes there. And I think if he shows that, if he fulfills his potential, they've got a player there, seriously. He's a very, very talented, very good centre-back who can sort of command the defences and could be a force for them. He's only young, still remains to be seen if he is going to reach the heights he once promised, but I wish him well there, and I think that could be a very good signing for Luton. That's a signing for them worth making. You know, when you think you're a newly promoted side, you need to sort of almost take a little bit of a gamble on a youngster to say, maybe this kid can come in and do a job for us. He's that guy. And they've got Tahith Chong, haven't they, at Luton as well? Yeah, it's got the thumbs up from producer Ethan. So they've gone with a couple of United youngsters. Tahith Chong was once being lauded as the next big thing. I never really rated him that highly. I'm not going to pretend I did now that he's left. But Mengi, I always rated. There was a sort of little mini clamour a few years ago to give him a chance in the first team when we were struggling. Get Mengi in it. He wasn't ready. Go to Luton, Premier League team. I wish him well. Let's talk about some incomings. Cucurella, right. So, Manchester United close to Marc Cucurella agreement after Chelsea lower asking price. There was talk one there, this is in the Metro, as you can see there, that Chelsea wanted around £7 million, I think it was. So you can see here, It says United were taken aback by Chelsea's demand of a £7 million loan fee, as they had initially offered around £2 million for the Spaniard. United are already prepared to take on Cucurella's wages and feel Chelsea's demand of £7 million is excessive. With time running out in the window, Chelsea are willing to compromise, and Marca, that's the Spanish publication, say an agreement of around £3 million is close to being struck. Still a lot, £3 million for a loan move for a player, and you got to pay his wages, but it's not the end of the world. We need him. We need a left back to come in. Obviously, like I said earlier, Tyrone Malacia injured, Luke Shaw injured. Diogo Dalot can play at left back, although it's not his natural position. And we've got some big games coming up, so get Cucurella in, and then that gives you another option. Didn't have a great time of it, or isn't having a great time of it at Stamford Bridge, but was very, very good at Brighton, to the point where Chelsea and City went into a little mini bidding war for him, didn't they? And at one point, it looked like he was going to go to Manchester City, and then Chelsea came in, and I think he's the most expensive fullback in English football. I think he is. I might be wrong on that front, but I read it somewhere, so it must. I read it on the internet, so it must be true. Paras, who's been a member of the academy for 31 months, says business has been so poor. Is this incompetence or a United tax? Can't see the way this changes until we knock down and rebuild the operational spine. Paras is a member of the academy. We've got extra content on the members section. If you go and check that out, we've got a video coming up as well. We do our Fantasy Football League every year for members. So if you are joining the membership, you get extra videos, behind the scenes stuff, vlogs and all that stuff, bit of extra content, supplementing the main sort of usual stuff that's on the main channel as well. So make sure you are subscribing to the main channel, to this channel. Let's have a look here at some of the comments. Sorry, I've not read some of the comments for a little while, so let's see that. Andrew says, how is Brighton scouting players like Ansu Fati and we can't get Amrabat? This is the sort of the kid from Barcelona that apparently is going to Brighton. I mean, I don't think there's much scouting involved there, is it? It's just like, you know what he's about, but they've got him on loan. Looks like that could be a very good signing for them. Santa Notch says, trust United to pay the wages of a loan player. Yeah, I mean, United just do whatever whatever the wrong thing is half the time, don't we? Grayson 030 says it's okay. United can sell Alvaro for 1.5 million to some Spanish side. Jordan Clark says we still need one more forward too. I agree. I wanted us to buy 2 strikers this summer. I always thought it was unlikely, but I thought that's what we should be doing. We haven't done it. We brought in Rasmus Højlund. It looks like he is going to be available for the Arsenal game, innit? Was it the Danish coach the other day who was saying that he'd watched him in training and said that he looks like he's ready? Yeah, Kasper Hjulmand said that he'd seen Højlund in training because he's called up to Denmark squad, and he looks like he's looking pretty good. He said, I think I'll just read it quickly. He said, I've been in Manchester to watch Rasmus train and he's in full gear, so he'll probably be in the squad for the weekend. But Erik Ten Hag would love it, that. Thanks for that, bro. Just sort of give away me team tactics ahead of the biggest game of the season so far. Nice one. Let's talk about Amrabat. Sofyan Amrabat. We did a poll last night, right, whether you wanted Pierre-Emile Højbjerg or Sofyan Amrabat to come into Manchester United, because we've been linked with both. Although it does feel like Amrabat is now edging ahead in the sort of the more likely stakes. And we did a poll and we said, who would you rather see come in? Would you rather see Sofyan Amrabat or would you rather see Pierre-Emile Højbjerg? And I think it was 91% of people who voted wanted to see Sofyan Amrabat. So it's overwhelmingly in favour. And me and Joe were chatting about this on Transfers Live. What is it about Sofyan Amrabat that excites you? Because Højbjerg's had a good spell at Spurs. I thought he had anyway. I thought he's been a very good player for them over the last couple of seasons. But I think with Amrabat, there's something a bit more. In many ways, it might be the sort of the great unknown that's attractive because you don't know as much about him and you think this kid could be amazing. With Højbjerg, you kind of know he's not amazing. You know he's pretty solid. Also, there is the World Cup. You've seen him in the World Cup, that wonderful run that Morocco went on, and he was a big part of that. You might have seen him in the Europa Conference final as well against West Ham. So you might have seen him in these big games doing well and go, you know what, he's the guy for me. You might have seen Højbjerg being a pretty steady player for a Spurs team that finished, what was it, 6th last season? Something like that, I can't remember. But 8th, sorry, I've just been told by producer Ethan it's 8th. Crikey, it's all going wrong there, isn't it? So you look at it and you go, okay, Amrabat just feels a bit of a sexier signing, if you know what I mean. I don't mean looks-wise, Højbjerg's a good-looking lad. I mean, it just feels like, there's something a bit more exciting about that signing than there is buying a player who's been solid for Spurs and now can't get in their team. listen, we know that Amrabat's done all he can to make this move happen. I think he's more or less gone on strike to get it happening, and Fiorentina are willing to let him go. But we'll have a little update here. The latest news, I think, says that it looks like there could be some sort of potential low move. You see it here, it's in the Mirror. It says Fiorentina rejected United's opening bid for Sofyan Amrabat yesterday. I'm going to get into this in a minute, but talks will progress today for the midfielder, who is desperate to move. United initially offered Fiorentina a loan with a €2 million, €1.7 million fee payable in 2 instalments, and also wanted a January break clause. Including any deal, the Italian club would love to sell Amrabat permanently, as he's only under contract until June 2024, but a compromise will be made this late in the window, with the Morocco international frozen out of the squad. Then goes on to say United are also hindered by financial fair play, which I mentioned earlier. Now, Romano, when this story was doing the rounds last night, said that United hadn't proposed anything yet. He said there's nothing formally on the table. He said informal talks had taken place. Now, it seems like it's a mixture of these stories. The Athletic was saying that, what the Mirror is saying as well, that United had offered this. Romano was saying it wasn't quite a formal proposal. It seems like the talks have gone on, and United have maybe sort of suggested, look, well, what if we gave you £2 million overall, 1 million up front and another million in January if he fulfills criteria or whatever, or if we still want him. Fiorentina aren't going to go for that, and rightly so. I think that's a ridiculous offer if United have actually offered it. You need to offer a bit more for a player who's obviously a very talented young lad. Yes, he goes out of contract in June 2024, but you're not going to get him for €2 million. That's just not going to happen. Tina Telefson to Toka. Sofyan says, Sofyan is way better than Hojbjerg. Sofyan rock at World Cup and is a bit like Caro K, not so flashy. So there's someone who really wants to see Amrabat at the club, wants to see him coming in. Seems to be in the majority. Let us know what you think. Do you want to see Sofyan Amrabat? If you do want to see Sofyan Amrabat, why? How do you see him fitting into Manchester United? I think he comes in and he's a backup to Casemiro. Do you think he plays alongside Casemiro? Could we go for the old double pivot? He's tried Mason Mount in that role. And I think long term, that's what he wants to do. Does he try Sofyan Amrabat in that role? Or is Amrabat coming in so we can give Casemiro a bit of a breather now and again because he needs one? He's our only real defensive midfielder in it. Let me know what you think. I want to hear what you guys think. Also, if you've seen a lot of Sofyan Amrabat, tell me what strengths, what he's got. Because I haven't seen a lot of him. I don't watch a lot of Fiorentina. Forgive me, I just don't. I'm going to be honest. Yes, I saw him in the World Cup for Morocco. You can only judge a player on international duty, even if it's the World Cup, so far. It doesn't tell you the whole story, does it? Brodo Gox says, does anyone know yet why we signed Mount? Bit early to start throwing Mount under the bus. I know it's not like worked out quite great so far for him. Worked out quite great. That doesn't make any sense. I know it's not worked out well for him so far, but it's very, very early days. Coming into Manchester United as a big signing, wearing that number 7 shirt, it isn't easy, especially when you move from a small club like Chelsea to a big one like Manchester United. Gavin Robertson says, Jay, Fiorentina have an option for a further year on his contract, so he's not necessarily out of contract in June 2024. Thank you for that, bro. Christopher Corcoran says, Chelsea played him last night, so we'll be cup tied talking about Mark Cucurella. Yeah, I saw that. Bit annoying, but let's just get him in first. Whippet Master says, morning Joe. Very funny. Hey, I'm the bald one. Mnet McCaney, who's been a member of the academy for 8 months, says Amrabat could be a good Casemiro 60-minute replacement with him looking leggy at the minute and could be a good double pivot against top teams. I like that. I like the idea of someone coming in when Casemiro is looking a bit leggy. Scott McTominay does it sometimes, but I don't know with Scott. Sometimes I feel like if it's a quite high intense game and it's fast paced, sometimes it can take him a little while to get into it. And we saw it against Forest, and I'm probably being a bit harsh here because I think it was only 1 or 2 passes that went astray, and he was coming into a game where even though they were down 10 men, they were up for it and they were trying to get that equaliser. But I just feel like sometimes you need a bit more of a calming influence, and someone like Sofyan Amrabat hopefully could be that guy. It certainly looks like he's going to come in over Højbjerg at the minute. Yesterday morning I was thinking it was going to be Højbjerg. Today I'm thinking it's going to be Amrabat. If there are any twists and turns, as always, we'll keep you posted. The main thing is you need to make sure you are subscribing to the channel. We're on 700 15,000 or something subscribers. I want to get to 800,000 subscribers, and with your support, we can do it. Let's talk about the cup draws. Let's start with the Carabao. Andy Mitten tweeted this last night. Manchester United drawn at home to Crystal Palace. Says United drawn at home in a domestic cup for the 11th consecutive time. Crystal Palace will be the visitors in the Carabao Cup. That's an amazing stat, isn't it? 11 consecutive home draws. It's weird, isn't it? Because our rivals will be looking at that, going, typical United. Oh, you get all the look, you get all the, and then people like me will be going, another home draw, more money out of me bank account. Crystal Palace in the third round of Carabao Cup, nice one. Listen, I can't moan. I'm very privileged. I'm in a privileged position where I can quite easily visit Old Trafford. I know there's a lot of you watching that would love to be able to do that, and you can't because you live miles away or whatever. So I get it. Yeah, just a little bit of a weird stat. Crystal Palace at home, not the easiest game. A game I expect Manchester United to win. I expect us to win all our home games. Be interesting to see what Erik does in the Carabao Cup this season, because last season he went for it in every cup competition, and he did well. We won the Carabao Cup, which I think was a big, big win for us. You might go, it's only the Carabao Cup. We needed a trophy. We wanted a trophy, and we got a trophy. Some people will say Arsenal had a better season because they finished second. We finished third and won a trophy. And I know an Arsenal legend that thinks we had the better season, and we'll be hearing from him later on. So make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Yeah, check that one out. That video is going to be up later on. It's very, very good as well. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether Erik goes for it, plays strong teams, the cup competitions, or he goes, listen, last year was the Europa. This year, it's the Champions League. Plus, last year we finished third. I want to kick on. Got to focus on the league a bit more. Is he going to cut his cloth accordingly? We will find out. The Champions League draw is on later on today. It's at 5 o'clock today. What's all that about? Why is it not lunchtime or dinner time, as we say in Manchester, because lunch doesn't exist? So we'll be here live at 5. So make sure you are checking that one out. We're going to go through the draw. Hopefully it won't take 3 hours and won't have to watch highlights of the 1972 Champions League final, European Cup final, whatever, or have interviews with the linesman from the 1986 final, whatever it is. They just drag it out, don't they? It's just horrible. But yeah, at least we're in it this time, which is better than whenever you're watching, you're not in it. It's horrible. I mean, they don't even do that, to be honest with you, so I don't know what I'm on about. We're in pot 2. So if you have a look there, pot 2, you've got Real Madrid, United, Inter, Dortmund, Atletico, Leipzig, Porto, and Arsenal. So we can't get drawn against any of those teams, I believe, is the way that works. We also can't get drawn against any other English teams. So obviously City, Newcastle and Arsenal, we won't get drawn against any of them. So I think, you'll have a pot. So if you look at it, have a look at pot 1 there, Eve. Let's have a look here. So we could end up with, say, Barcelona again, I think. And then, yeah, you could have a Barcelona or Munich. PSG. There's some good teams in there, isn't there? We'll wait and see what happens, but United are in the Champions League. That's the main thing, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, there's some decent draws on the horizon there. I wouldn't mind a cheeky little European away this season. I did Barcelona last season. Loved that. The season before I did Madrid. So I sort of stopped doing European aways a few years ago and then started doing the odd one or two now and again at when we started Stretford Paddock. So yeah, I wouldn't mind doing a little one. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Who would you like to see? Is there a particular team you want to avoid? Is there a team you want to face? Is there a trip you want to do? What do you think about the Champions League draw? You're looking forward to it? What do you think about the fact we've been drawn at home again in the Carabao Cup? Let us know what you think about that one as well. Khan says, hope we get Bayern. Santa Notch says, let's face it, we always get Sevilla. We do get Sevilla. Have we beaten Sevilla yet? Eh? When are we going to beat Sevilla? How is that a thing? We've never beaten them. What is that? We were 2-0 up with 10 minutes ago, weren't we, at Old Trafford? It's ridiculous. Adam Kenny says, Munich and Milan would be the worst. Miller, 95 MUFC, says, can't wait for Casemiro to hear that music. Yeah. Casemiro and Varane as well. Hey, them two love a Champions League, don't they? That would be great. Oh, yeah, I'm just looking at the record against Sevilla. Our record against Sevilla is lost 3 and drawn 2. That is pathetic. How has that happened? Sevilla aren't even that good. They're good, but they're not like the best team in the world. How do we keep losing and drawing to them? It's unreal. And also, that one in Sevilla last season was atrocious. I think that more or less ended David De Gea's United career. It was that bad. Dal DK says, when is the draw for the Champions League? It's at 5 p.m. UK time. We'll be here with it. Hopefully it won't last too long. But me and Joe will be going through that. So we'll be live at 5. So make sure you are checking that out. Like the video as well, people. Over 1,500 people watching. Not even 200 likes. Come on. Hit that like. Someone said tea time, pal. Yeah, Miller says tea time, pal. Yeah, that's the way. Malinx says Espanyol bogey team. Andrew says they lost at the weekend. There you go. They haven't won in La Liga this season, says Andrew as well. I tell you what, if we were to play them, they'll beat us. One of them where they haven't won all season until they play Manchester United, or it'll be a 0-0, something like that in the first game, then we'll lose 1-0 away. Anyway, enough negativity. We're going to be back later on. We're going to have the preview for the Arsenal game. We're going to have the Champions League draw, and we're going to have Off the Bar with a big guest, an Arsenal legend. And I don't just throw the word legend about like it's someone who played 4 games for him, like it's Pascal Sigan or something like that. This is an actual Arsenal legend. So make sure you're subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on any of that good stuff. I've been Jay Mott. This has been The Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.